Are you? Wow. Sharon, you live in Ohio too?
No. But I wouldn't mind.
See if there's anyone else in the hall.
I'll come with. Let's go vertical. Drop the little weight off.
Yeah.
Do you shut the doors or keep them open so people can come?
It's disruptive when they're shut. Usually it quiets down.
Quiet down.
Yes.
Not today. I'll be looking.
Thank you.
Oh, there he is. Well, you're happy for this joining. You've got everybody. Welcome, everyone. Let's get started. Hi. Thank you for being here. We're going to share, you're going to hear from all of our current residential students, and they're going to be presenting their reflections and their about their time here, and also the things they've been thinking about and exploring. The people you'll hear from have been here at for various lengths of time, but the program itself is a year-long program of study where you work and live at the foundation. So we have this opportunity throughout the year for, well, originally we said young adults, but you'll see from the group that shares that it expands a large range of Asian experience. And so, with that being said, the program is a year-long program that I recently started coordinating. Prior to that, it was Claire. If you've ever been here in years past, she was coordinating our program. We're about in our 5th year this year for this residential student program. Let's offer when we hear a presentation, and then after the presentation, if you have any questions for that resident, you're welcome to ask. At the time, we'll keep an eye on the clock, and if you have questions in general about the program per se, not specifically about the presentation that you hear, you can ask any one of us. You'll see all of us by the end of our presentation. But my name's Holly, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the program. So without further ado, let's have Ching Fong. He's going to be the first presenter here today. Thanks, Ching Fong.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming today. My name is Ching Fong. Before I start,
Sorry.
it's okay. Before I start, please do. Before you start. Yeah, please forgive me the limitation of my English. I just realized there's a lot of grammar mistake on my paper when I read it. But yeah, in fact, there's a limitation of language itself. You know, I have a lot of feeling which is happening at that moment. I really try to put into word, but sometimes I feel like what I try to say is not what is. So yeah, but I will do my best try to express what I really want to express here. Time is flying. I can't believe that I have been here for 8 months since I became a student intern here from last August. Christina already talked about the ending of time. Well, I just hope time can go a little bit slowly. Of course, Kay is talking about the psychological time here. This is a 1-year program. I wish I could stay longer, but I have to leave very soon next weekend because of some of my family things I need to take care of. So I'm so glad, I'm honored that I have this opportunity to share my experience here and the reflections of case teaching, not only to all of you, but also a summary to myself before I leave. First of all, I feel so grateful and lucky that I could live, study, and work here. The former Christina Murray's home, a great teacher who has been lived here for most of his life. Right now, serves as an educational center for people who came here visit from all over the world. I especially appreciate that KFA provides this program for people who have huge passion in case teaching and have a quality of curiosity and seriousness in exploring themselves inwardly. I think it's very significant for me as a young adult to inquire and explore those fundamental questions about life and knowing myself before entering the stream of society with so much challenge and uncertainty. Secondly, I really enjoy the natural environment here from the bottom of my heart. It is such beautiful and quiet valley. Look at those mountains. They are so quiet and still. You can see the clear outline of the mountains again with the blue sky. There's very unique view in Ojai called Pink Moment. I don't know if anyone knows this. It's Pink Moment. During the sunset, you will see those mountains looks like beautiful girls dressing in pink skirt and ready for dance. Sorry. Also, we have a lot of different kind of trees here. Orange trees, pepper trees, oak trees, avocado trees, you can name it. And we can eat fresh organic orange every day on the campus as much as I can for free. Sorry about that. Guess a little sweat.
We can do this.
You're doing good.
Sorry.
It's kind of stuck.
If you walk around the campus, you will see so many beautiful flowers in different colors, almost everywhere. It was my dream to live in nature like this. And right now, my dream came true, that I live in a small house with another intern, Willard, which we call tiny house. The space is limited, but looks cute and feel comfortable. I can hear the singing of birds around me when I open my eyes every morning. Isn't it lovely? I usually have a short walk around the herb garden and enjoy watching the sunrise without doing anything. Sometimes I just sit quietly, watching the movement of cloud and the trees, which make my mind so silent. And I love animals. There are so many animals showed up in the campus. Sometimes I remember I encountered with deers, fox, coyotes, and even rattlesnake. I become a friend with those neighbors, like rabbit, because we met almost every day. At the beginning, they are kind of afraid of me. The noise from my step always scared them, and they run away immediately. But after a few times, it seemed like they are getting familiar with me, without regarding me as a threat. So I can move much closer with them and just watching them without doing anything, and they won't run away. Of course, you have to be very patient, gentle, and most important, without any violence and fear within yourself. Saturday, I really enjoyed the work here. Preparing breakfast in the retreat in the morning provided a good chance to connect with those guests who came from different states of US, some of them from other countries. I like to talk with them and listen to their stories and experience, not only related to Krishnamurti, but also about their life itself. I was so happy to share my life story and experience here too. Another duty is we need to cook lunch. Usually one time a week for staff and other interns. I'm glad that almost everyone liked my Chinese food, even though the food I made haven't changed much every time. I remember I made a Chinese and Italian mixed cuisine about a few weeks ago. That was my first time of making a pesto pasta with Chinese-style spicy tofu. I was kind of worried about that people probably won't like it because of that weird combination. However, they did like it. I was very happy with that. Well, the work wasn't all romantic and comfortable. Sometimes we got very heavy duties on maintenance. For example, we worked on trimming that branch of orange trees for a few months. Recently, we spent a lot of time on cutting grass for preparing this May gathering. To be honest, it was not easy and pleasant work for me at the beginning. I remember I got a little sweat while cutting grass with sort of heavy machine. Sound was extremely loud, and the smoke comes from the engine when it gets hot. What even worse was we had to wear a walking suit for protection. It was kind of thick, so you can imagine how sweaty while walking on such a hot day in Ojai for 4 hours a day. However, I realized that it is a good chance to observe myself inwardly during work later on, especially for those heavy work. I think it is one of the most important things I learned from case teaching. In fact, almost every Asian teaching from those great teachers, Socrates, Buddha, or Lao Tzu, they all talk about observation, especially observe yourself inwardly. It's the key to open the door of wisdom, and that key is within yourself. So, what it actually means to know yourself and observe yourself? Sometimes it's easy to talk about it in dialogue, but it's very difficult to do it in reality, especially in daily life, daily activities, such as the way you talk with different people, when you get angry or upset with someone, so on and so on. Can you still keep observing yourself at that moment? In this case, I found out that I didn't really feel resistant against cutting grass. What I really against was my feeling when I started to feel tired or bored after work for a while. Obviously, that feeling was not comfortable, especially when I keep sweating, making me feel so annoying. Because I have to take off the, some headphone, I have to grab some tissues to, just wipe out my sweat. So I keep doing this all the time. So if I really pay attention to my thinking, I will see thought like, I don't like this work. I don't want to do that. It's meaningless. And what I'm doing is wasting my time. When this thought arose, just after that feeling, I realized that thought and judgment strengthened my feeling and caused so much energy wasted in conflict and fighting within my mind. And this is the main reason why I feel so tired and sweaty every time. Of course, hot weather, thick clothes, and long time work were external factors, but internal was the root of the problem. After I seen this fact, I started to observe myself while cutting grass or other hard work. Whenever those thoughts and feelings arose, I was just watching those thoughts and feelings happen within my body, especially the movement in the middle of my chest. Just observing it without doing anything, any identification, judgment, condemnation, or any will that try to change it. I feel that my mind becomes very quiet and still, and those uncomfortable feelings will calm down and gone by itself gradually. And what really amazing is, I never feel that tired and got so much sweat anymore compared to what happened before. Because there's no more energy wasted in conflict and fighting in my mind. I feel that I enter a status of a meditative mind unexpectedly and unconsciously, without closing my eyes and sitting at a quiet place. I think this is why Kay always point out that conscious meditation is no meditation. Meditation is not a particle of endeavor, a particle of any sense of trying to become, consciously reach a level, and so on. It is total silence mind, simply with itself. Another good time for observing myself occurred during my leisure time. We only need to work 4 hours in the morning during weekdays, so we have a lot of free time at the afternoon. Still, at the beginning, I didn't really know how to spend those free time. So I just looking for something to do, reading books, work out in the gym, having some fun with my friend, watching movie, go shopping, extra. I started to realize that what I had done was just trying to escape from my emptiness and loneliness, and try to fill up them through entertainment, which in fact will trigger more confusing and conflict in my heart. But when I started to observe myself and face the fact that I was alone, isolated, anxiety, there's eager to search for fun and to see the what is within myself without trying to deny it or escape it, control it or suppress it. Sorry, I keep sweating. Well,
It's not, the air conditioning isn't working, so we can, yeah. It's the cooler in the hall, I can feel the cool air coming in. So.
Sorry about that. Yeah, because when I started to observe myself and face the fact that I'm alone, isolated, anxiety, there's eager to search for fun, and to see the what is within myself without trying to deny it or escape it, control it or suppress it, but just stay with that. Let flowers bloom, expand. Then you will see that loneliness will wither away by itself. And at that very scene, you will realize that the nature of mind is infinite. It has its own order. It is a pure energy which flows and moves freely and everlastingly within your body. Only thing what you can do is just watching it and let it move and flow naturally. At that moment, I'm afraid. However, don't try to hold on that moment. Just like he always said, thinking is always try to search for continuity. And that very eager to trying to hold on that is another form of desire, which will destroy the beauty of truth. But truth is like as a living thing. You can only see it from moment to moment. However, you can see the whole universe from a petal of flower and a sand, which is life itself. This is also exactly what Krishnamurti talked about, the freedom of choiceless awareness in the core of his teaching. That freedom is not a reaction, freedom is not choice. It is man's pretense that because he has choice, he is free. Freedom is pure observation without any direction, without any fear of punishment and reward. Freedom is without motive. Freedom is not at the end of evolution of man, but lying the first step of his existence. Freedom is found in choiceless awareness of our daily existence. One thing I really want to point out is, unless you totally understand it by yourself, not intellectually or logically understand, but actually seeing it within yourself and examine it in your daily life. Otherwise, you just simply copy or repeat what he said or other great teachers said. Which means you have to be your own light without relying on anybody else. Then we come to a question. Why I'm here? Am I just a follower of K? This is also the question that I have been asked most often by other people since I came here. That why I came here as an intern student. It began with confusion and questioning. About 5 years ago, I started my course life in Michigan State University. For the first year, as a freshman, everything looks fresh for me. You know, that was the first time I came to US and started here. But when I entered the second years, as a sophomore, life changed quite a bit. When I moved and lived outside of the campus, I owned a car, which means I have more freedom to do something for fun, such as going to the party, you know, those so-called college life. However, I didn't even know what I really want to do with my life, what I want to learn for my major, but I have to decide it as soon as possible within a half year. I still remember I almost asked to myself every day, what is my interest? What I really love? What's the meaning of life? The answer is, I don't know. And the fact is, I have no idea what I want to do with my life, and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. The only thing I know is I can't just continue my education, choose a major that I didn't interest in, and then get graduated. It was very clear that I can't just follow the expectation from my parents and the society, which is find a job, get married, and living a superficial for the rest of my life. I remember Henry Thoreau said, rather than love, the money, the fame, give me truth. Yes, truth is the only thing I want at that time. To be honest, I was also quite inspired by watching a video at that time, and I watched it over and over again. It was a speech given by Steve Jobs at Stanford University in 2005. He talked about 3 stories of his life. In the last story, he talked about his understanding about death. He said, your time is limited, so don't waste it in living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living the result of other people thinking. Don't let the noise of other people's opinion drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. This is very inspiring for me at that time. So I decided to take a semester off and back to China. I started to look for answers in books like Greek philosophy and Asian Chinese teaching. However, the way they express, which was too obscure to understand at that time. For those New Age or so-called spiritual teachings, they talk about life, love, and peace, which really touched my heart emotionally, but still not the ultimate truth for me. Until one day, I read Kate quote online by coincidentally. I can't remember what the quote was, but I will never forget about the resonation of my heart at that time. I can see the truth in there. It's something I touch directly. I just see it. It is truth. Later on, I searched Krishnamurti in Wikipedia and read about his life and work. I found it was so fascinating. So I began to read his book, watch videos. Then I knew about this program when I met Yap in Beijing, the president of KFA, more than 2 years ago. I have a strong calling within my heart that I want to come here as an intern student. Not for K, but a passion in searching for truth itself. And every time when I read this speech, truth is a pathless land, I feel that my heart was so resonated by those powerful statements and insight that Krishnamurti gave, such as, once you follow someone, you see it for the truth. I want to do a certain thing in the world, and I'm going to do it with unwavering concentration to set men free. Again, you have the idea that only certain people hold the key to the kingdom of happiness. No one holds it. No one has the authority to hold that key. That key is within yourself. And in the development and the purification and in the improbability of the self alone is the kingdom of eternity. Krishnamurti is such a beautiful human being. His existence itself is a challenge and a mirror for me. Challenge in a sense means, how could a human being live like him without any shadow of conflict, sorrow, and misery, without any fear, desire, and live in totally freedom and beauty? It provides a mirror for me to look within myself. Why am I always trapped in conditioning? And why am I suffering in conflict and sorrow all the time? Is it possible to end all of them? This is why I'm here. Because I have a strong desire to know about myself, to explore what is life and relationship, what is beauty, love, and compassionate. What is the ultimate truth and total freedom? What I did was just following my heart and inner voice, and life brought me here eventually. As I am about to leave, I realized that there's a transformation occurred within my mind during our stay in cafe. And I become more confident to say that I finally found the art of living, which is lived naturally like a tree, a flower, a river, without any shadow of conflict, sorrow, and misery, which is love, compassionate, and freedom. And most important, I know what I really love and what I want to do with my life, which is to share my wisdom and love to everyone and make a better world. Of course, the journey of self-knowing or self-exploration will never come to an end. but this speech had to come at an end. So at the very end, I really want to express my appreciation for the true relationship, true friendship with all of you, especially for those staff and interns that we have been lived and worked together about a year. We are more like families instead of just working relationship. And also to those professors that we have been programmed with. Thank you. I have to say, you are the most beautiful, kind, and intelligent people I ever met in my life. I will keep those memories, laughters, and insight we share together at the bottom of my heart. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Any questions?
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
I want to really appreciate the task of writing, because I was an intern, a former intern, and I come from Puerto Rico, so English is my second language as well. So it's kind of a full-time job itself to write a paper in English, because you have to restructure the way you think and use the repertory or the amount of words that you have so far, based on the education or where you come from, or how much access you have had with the English language. And I really appreciate that you took over. So and also I resonate with your needs of finding truth or exploring the meaning of what is true, and I think to a certain extent you have to be really honest with yourself when you're in such path, and when you're having these feelings that you cannot fully understand or describe, but they make you engage with life, with the wholeness of life, to the point that you're willing to come here and have this experience, because and somehow take a break from school, from what is your family expecting from you. In my case, my family was not expecting me to go to college, so it was different. I have more freedom. But anyways, I had an urgency of going towards the unknown, or something that I was not exposed to, or that to a certain extent, I knew that I was not gonna get in college or school. So it's awesome, yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, in fact, my family, especially my father, he didn't really agree with me at the beginning. He can't understand why I took a semester off. Why at that time I'm thinking transfer to psychology or philosophy. At that time he thought psychology is I'm going to become a psychologist, and what I'm doing is just deal with those people, innocent people. This is what his understanding. Just what I'm going to do with my life is talk with those people have illness on their brain. But later on, the relationship between me and my father transformed, changed a lot. I work on that. I talk with him very seriously, and I express myself what I really love, what I really want to do with my life, and I also give some book to him, and he did read it, and he become more and more open-minded and support me right now. So yeah, the relationship, I don't know, it's amazing. Yeah. So this is why I said you have to from your heart, and the current of life will draw you to where you really want to go. But you have to have a passion and love in what you really want to do. Anybody else?
Do you have an idea? You said you're not sure what you want to do, you know, in your future for school or for work? Was that in the beginning, or is it still now? You're not quite sure?
I think I know what I want to do with my life.
Pursue truth.
Yeah. Yes. And live naturally. I can't say like what's a specific job or work that I'm going to choose in my life, but I will just, I don't know, live naturally, just like the tree. I don't know, just follow my heart. And the good thing is, I get the support from my family, so
I think you mentioned something about philosophy and psychology,
yes.
and I want to touch base on that because right now I'm going back to school
I see.
for finishing my degree in psychology and later on pursue a PhD in neuropsychology. I'm really interested in the scientific study of how our brain affects our behavior. And I don't. You mentioned something about psychology. That might be something that will go along your pursuit of truth or understanding of.
Just remember that the trees are happier than the psychologists.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ching Fong.
Just getting one side of the, it's okay. Good job.
All right, thanks so much, Ching Fong. Next we'll hear from another residential student, Martina.
Yeah, I brought my glasses with me, but I kind of don't want to forget, and I'm going to try reading without. Part of it I came to this program was to heal my eyes, so I'm going to try. If not, I'll use the glasses. My dear friends, originally I was planning to give this sharing title From Darkness into Light. Only until this afternoon when I was sitting in an herb garden and one lovely lady from Iran came by, and after a short sweet conversation she said she had a small gift for me that she was not sure whom to give. She handed me this poster, this one, with the saying of the famous Sufi master Rumi, quoting, "What a joy to travel with the way of heart." This event changed the course of my action, and whatever was written prior was gone. I have to say, this whole process capturing the essence of this program on piece of paper was quite a challenging process at many different levels. Challenging in a sense, how can you capture in words something so subtle as gap between two thoughts? It felt as if it lost its aliveness once put on a paper. To introduce myself, I'm originally coming from Slovakia, and my name given at birth is Martina. Some of you may know me as Mukta. If you're wondering what happened with my names, well, the second one got dropped halfway into this program in the process of inquiring into nature of the self. I couldn't have imagined a better place than this program for such experiment. It worked wonderfully at both ends. at times confusing to others, but surely showing me the visible and hidden conditionings attached to both names. At times amusing, just watching the whole drama given to our first conditioning. My main intensive to come to this program was hope of creating the stillness in this being, allowing exploration, facing the magnitude of case teachings one-on-one. And not to forget, and maybe the most important thing, translating the knowing from the brain into the action and bridging it deeper into my heart. Those are very precious moments that I will never forget, and I'm very grateful for given opportunity. Being longer into this program, I also realized that apart from case teaching, it's actually the place where I'm finding many answers. Living in a community, as well as living in the solitude, will mirror many aspects of the self from different angles. If one can stay open to the whole process of intense mirroring, seeing the bigger picture can learn a great deal. Experiential learning can lead to deeper insights. One can keep over-analyzing it, but most of it is revealed in still silence. Now I know when I leave this place, I have some jewels to play with in my pocket. The glimpse of connecting to the beings as human to human, having many opportunities of dialoguing, taking long walks, sharing meals together, or just wandering about. There were a few special moments for me which occurred during dialogues, having witnessed the moment of silence, tear in the eye, invisible thread of death is connecting us while intensely exploring together, arriving to the point when there was nothing else needed to be said, added, or removed. The glimpses into nature of the self, peeling the layers until one feels there is no center, so very subtle. I spent many afternoons just sitting with myself, observing observer, feeling the gap, listening to my mental radio, at times so loud and restless, at times more quiet. I realized those were among the most precious moments. There is nowhere to run away. The only way is to run to myself and directly face it and see if there is anything worthy of an exploration. The glimpse into gap between two thoughts and the flash of causeless silence occurring quite often when awestruck by the beauty of this place. Words cannot do any justice here. The beauty outside and within is beyond. As I'm writing this, I'm again admiring this marvelous sunset among the many others. The sun, the rolling clouds, tiny raindrops creating the rainbow above. The smell of earth after the rain mixed with perfume of orange blossom, the pink moments. Glimpse into the fine-tuning with the nature, raising up and falling, dancing with the rhythm, playing with the birds, feeling as a part of this whole. These are all the gems I have in my pocket. The exploration is not yet over and will continue diving deeper. I thank you all for coming here and this privilege to share them with you. Thank you. Any questions?
I just want to say you touched my heart. Very beautiful.
Thank you. That's what I think the main inspiration to write is. I was really struggling on mental level because I kind of felt like, oh, it's going nowhere. It was getting stuck in my head, and I kind of wanted to capture something deeper and be able to transmit it. And I think it's very important as humans to share this precious moment and creating this openness. So thanks to this, I think everybody knows how much I struggled, and then I got this poster, and that kind of happened within 2 hours. Kind of relieved me from the burden, and then I felt, okay, I maybe have something that I maybe captured the lessons of this program, and I'm really happy about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we'll hear from Christina.
It's not there.
One can live up to society's set standards while getting educated their entire life. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has a passion for discovery outside of what society has molded them to be. Self-taught, cognizant knowledge cannot be bought, given, traded, or devalued. The same passion that has led great seekers and teachers alike is the same passion we are all given, to extend our minds in silence and observation. The hope is to apply it at the right time, place, and form. It is something the world cannot take from you, and it is something one has to want to strive for, which is to not be conducive to a false environment set by society's presumed set standards. Besides, who set them anyway? My name is Christina, and I am a seeker of truth, my own truth, not secondhand knowledge acquired in school, nor any spiritual book. I honor those great teachers, prophets, and masters who have come before us in an effort to guide humanity with beautiful pearls of wisdom and their humility towards the multitudes. In my quest for embodied spirituality, I have found myself here at the doorsteps of the Krishnamurti Center, ready to deconstruct and decondition the entirety of what I think I know, because all of my acquired knowledge is not cognizant knowledge. Intellectually acquiring esoteric truths does not bring me any closer to knowing myself, because it only becomes truth when I am able to experience it both in the inner and outer planes of existence. Upon the mysterious threshold of the Temple of Delphi, a Grecian maxim engraved in the stone says, Homo nose te ipsum, man, know thyself, and ye shall know all the universe and its gods. This pushes one to think and go to their inner depths of their own being on a quest for truth, surrendering all preconceived ideas and concepts. It hasn't been easy embarking on a commitment to deconstruct the entirety of what I have thus created myself to be. One can read Krishnamurti and reflect on the teachings in a retrospective manner, but actually seeing the practicality has not been possible unless I am observing myself in the world and not removed from it. Each environment, comprised of individuals on both a small and collective scale, provides a looking glass into a mirror reflection of how the individual is a microcosm within a macrocosm. Each relationship, each community, each organization, city, and country are living, thriving beings. In my time here at the Krishnamurti Center, I have come to bear witness to this. The KFA itself is a living, thriving being. Here we coexist as different but interconnecting parts of a bigger whole. In this living being we call the Krishnamurti Center and the KFA, and in each being exists a hologram of a larger being, functioning like organs in a living body. If one organ is sick or not functioning in harmony with the others, then the livelihood of the organization is subject to disorder and provides an opportunity for introspection into a mirror, showing the effects one has on others as well as society. Our inner worlds are projected outwardly, and through a desire to observe, we can naturally see why conflict on a global level isn't so surprising if conflict exists within. The entire world provides paralleled examples of many microcosms existing in a macrocosm. In Krishnamurti's book, Inner Revolution, he invites us to reflect. He says, perhaps we could devote time to find out for ourselves how to live with real understanding, with a great sense of beauty, with a great sense of human understanding, in which there is no conflict in relationship. Then perhaps we could go on from there to find out for ourselves what meditation is, and if there is such a thing as truth, as reality. But first we must lay the foundation, not from someone else, however wise or however caught up in illusion of his own experience, but based on our own lives, the life of our daily existence. If we could do that, do you know what a world that would be? Not a utopian world, not an ideological world, but a world of sanity, a world where there is no war, no division between those who know and those who do not know, those who pretend enlightenment and those who are seeking enlightenment, those who assert there is something and those who assert that there is not. I cannot necessarily say I know where this journey will take me, but this is what I'm doing with my life. Thank you. Any questions?
I have to say that was really, really powerful. Extremely powerful.
Thanks, because it's really hot up here. I think I would get a little nervous, but I am. So, glad it came off that way. Thank you.
If you like to share and if there is, what is your fear in this journey?
I'm sorry?
What is your fear,
My fear?
if there is?
Catching on fire?
You don't have to answer.
No, I sit with that question from moment to moment. So I'm still observing it. Yeah.
Can I just make a comment that it's taken me all these years to get to where you are now. How envious I am that you, being that much younger, have already arrived in that place of inner knowing and validating that. So I'm so happy for it.
Thank you.
I have to mention, this is like the teacher, you're like the teacher.
I know.
Assistant student.
I know. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Sorry. You can just go.
Sometimes
Just
I give her a
go.
break.
Thank you. It's my conditioning.
one essential thing I would like to share. When I look back to this paper, one remembered how it came into being. It was more or less a month from now, one Saturday, as Walad is sitting in his shelter and as he's looking at the computer machine. He remembered the request that made by Foundation to share one sense of this program, or you call it experience. So before we go into that, Walat, I would like to point out clearly that this is not an entertainment for the foundation nor to the speaker himself, nor is a lecture on particular points, ideas, opinions, nor is any form of imitation. So I really mean that. So if we are clear on that at the very beginning, not at the end, nor in the middle, but now. Now, please, you are invited to take this journey with the speaker. I'm supposed to talk about residential student program. We can talk about various parts of this so-called residential student program. But then we have to ask ourselves, is this really separate matter of parts? Or is it, as it is, movement of one whole unit? Right? So I can talk about the sense of orange. But we must taste it for ourselves to discover what this orange actually is. Therefore, we want to keep it simple, as simplicity is part of beauty and intelligence. So you must come to this place. Beautiful place, which is part of this marvelous earth. Then we would discover for ourselves that we are the program. And the program is us. And when we see that in our whole being, in totality of our existence, then the mutation, then the energy that goes beyond will appear. And after that, there is no point, or even there is no meaning of to us talking about what would happen then. You know why? Because we will see it. We will live it. But you still do, as to speaker, what is your sense of this program? Please, if you don't mind, I say give complete attention to what is being said. Now, and now that which is timeless. Then possibly we can fundamentally discover for ourselves the original insight, the original energy that is the problem. So, that what we says is sense of the problem. As long as that is not present, the rest just circle in the darkness.
That was very nice, thank you. It led me to your, what you were doing led me to a place that I love where you left me, because my last thought when you were finished was okay. So, thank you.
Could you please tell us how long have you been in the program? What brought you here? How did you find it? Just your own experience.
I've been here for more than 4 months now. And I found the program at the internet. I saw from the cafe website. I don't know why I came here. If I knew it, probably I wouldn't
Thank you. Okay. Culturally speaking, have you experienced any transformation coming to this part of California? To this center?
Would you ask again, sir?
Would you culturally experience any transformation coming from your origin to this part of California?
I mean, I'm not resistant, I really don't understand the question.
Culturally, you know, like the culture that you come from originally, is it different, very different from the culture?
Yeah?
Yeah.
But sir is asking, like, do I have any experience that has changed something happened, right? Is that right?
What do you see the change in you during these 5 months?
Sir, I wonder if you realize when you listen to someone, actually when you listen to someone, I will make it very simple. You are not aware that you are listening. You don't say, I'm aware, I'm listening. Listen. So if I wonder what value will have it if I say I have an experience, I changed.
So you found the program in the internet, but before that you had an encounter with Krishnamurti's work, right? Like you found it in the internet randomly, or it's because you knew or you read something about Krishnamurti already, like you knew about him or read part of his work somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before I see the program,
Mm-hmm.
I met with the guy.
Mm.
Can you laugh at yourself?
Well, they say the best for last. I'm not saying that. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. I know it's been a busy day and weekend, so thanks for persevering the time as well as the heat in this room. And I especially want to thank the staff, Holly, Kari, and everyone else for marshaling us, cajoling us, and pushing us to get the purpose done, to be here. And I also want to thank Holly for printing my paper this morning. May I have it?
Oh. That was really smooth. That was really smooth. Oh no, don't read that one. Don't read that one. That's Ching Fong's.
Now you're in full control.
We'll see if we recognize the one that already got read.
So I was going to say good afternoon, but maybe good evening is more appropriate. But I want to say welcome and again, thanks for coming to what cannot be called a denouement, but an add-on to a great weekend. It is, however, for us students denouement, because for more than a month now, we've been hearing about this paper we are to present at the gathering. We were told, you know, you have to write a paper to present, right? We do it every year. But then a week later, have you chosen the topic for your paper? And then the next week, have you started writing your paper? And then do you need help writing your paper? So through it all, we got pretty grandiose designs. They said you could write about any experience as a resident student, but I didn't want to write about myself because, you know, there is no self, right? So instead, I wanted to write under the title, The Universality of the Teachings Shared by Judah Krishnamurti. And I asked how long can that paper be? And I was told it can be a book. So I tried. It was at least a booklet. And I completed the paper Wednesday morning. before the beginning of the workday. And I left the dishwashing crew early, apologetically, to email the paper to Holly so it could be printed. Because I had no direct access to a printer until Ching Fong noted I could use the one in the retreat house today. So I kind of used that as well. But after the lunch period, there was very little time before a undress rehearsal at 2:30 that day. So I sent the email to Holly, and then I ran to her office to get the printout. When I got to the office, however, it was empty, and Holly was already in the Pine Cottage setting up for the presentation. So when I got to the lectern in the Pine Cottage, I had no paper to read from, and I only had the computer tablet that I had written the paper on. So basically, the undress rehearsal is where I got undressed publicly. I had envisioned our papers being published and that each member of the audience would have a copy, so the presentation would be like talking points on the paper. But I found myself trying to read a paper which was written more like an encyclopedia than a novel to a live audience. And I didn't think it would work. I thought I would bore the audience to death. So I decided to skip about to find the most interesting points and try to make it at least not so boring. But things didn't go well. I'd written the paper in 8-point type, trying to condense it to make it not take up so much space. So when I got to the lectern, I had to try to read the print. That didn't work, so I tried to pinch to make the screen larger, and the sentences ran off the page, not the screen. So I fumbled, I stalled, and I rambled to a conclusion, mercifully for my audience. I'd gone to a comedy show in Burbank the previous weekend, and at that moment I was feeling like I was headlining comedy. After I finished, there were no questions about aspects of the paper, only an audience-wise question of, what did we just witness? One supportive voice suggested the paper needed a focus, and all I could answer was, it wasn't the actual paper. Another said it lacked flow and continuity, and I thought, I suddenly lost that flow by scrolling up and down through the screen looking for facts. So I was thinking today that perhaps in a year or two, I can make a presentation to an audience here that has a copy of the book or booklet that I'm commenting on. However, for now, I decided to ditch the book, go along with the program, and talk about my personal but universal experiences. I kind of stole the beginning of this from a newspaper article that appeared in the Sacramento Bee about Ojai in January 22nd. But you know that there's a sin among locals which they contend captures the sentiments of visitors with whom they converse about town. That is, I'm in Ojai, I don't know why. And I kind of get that from people I meet. But the Ojai Valley seems to produce a gravitational pull that creates a stream of consciousness and people. Historians note it dates to the indigenous Chumash people, who had a rich culture with sacred sites before the Spanish conquest. Some attribute the valley's draw to its physical features and natural beauty, situated in the bed of a horseshoe created by mountains, and with a rare east-west orientation, rather than the typical north-south positioning of valleys in the Americas. People who reside here will readily tell you that it's no wonder the valley was a backdrop for Shangri-La, a mythical paradise in the film based on the 1933 novel Lost Horizon. My first visit occurred rather spontaneously during a drive from San Francisco to Los Angeles, in which a girlfriend and I were heaven bent on reaching Hollywood while there was still daylight. Driving on Highway 101, I suddenly saw an exit sign for Ojai. Immediately came an association with Krishnamurti, and without thought, the car turned off the highway, drove past the majestic crystal clear lake, and stopped in Ojai. I was in Ojai, and I didn't know why. My friend did not mind much, and we used to break to take a light meal and enjoy the sights. We briefly visited KFA. She was familiar with Christian Brady too, but on a more superficial level. I was more read and had assimilated teachings to the point where she told me that when she told me there were contradictions between my actions and my words, I would say, if you want to understand me, read Christian Brady. I was probably asking too much, as she never took the time. Fast forward a few years, and I'm spending a week in Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Zen Center while visiting a new girlfriend who was an au pair for a movie director's family in Brentwood. I took a free day and drove to Ojai. Confirmation I was on the right road, both figuratively and literally, came when I saw the highway sign, Highway 33, Ojai. Those are my confirmation numbers for all of life, born on the 3rd of March. However, I was puzzled when I did not see the lake this time while driving into Ojai. It took several trips over decades before I realized that entering Ojai on Highway 150, you see Lake Casitas, the lake, but on the highway you only see the town. The trip also confirmed that spiritual experiences typically occur solo, singly, or in solitude. As I was able to spend the whole day at the Christian Radio Education Center reading books and watching videos. And then the evening I spent at Meditation Mount. I found out exactly why I was in Ojai. This visit came only months after Christian Radio's death, and from the mountain I observed a huge condor guiding up the valley and sensed the spirit of Christian Radio. Fast forward 29 years, and I'm back in Ojai. This time, the why is crystal clear. I've been accepted as a one-year resident student and arrived to imbibe in both the spirit and the teachings, and as well as the environment. There is a gradual adjustment, having spent the previous 2 years in the South Pacific. But during my 3rd week, I met a local named Troy. Locals tend to go by just one name, so all I know is Troy. He's a painter, and then he goes anonymously, as he never signs his paintings. He's a retiree who now is a market trader, and he tells me that he paints for the joy of it and to impart his skills onto the younger generation. He paints in all scenes he paints in all scenes of the valley and the mountains, and distributes them freely to schools and institutions. For me, he also painted with words some of the features of the Ojai Valley. Noting its unique positioning, he pointed out the valley offers the unusual perspective of seeing the sun rise from one end and then set in the other. He added there's a vortex, a spiritual element that goes back to before recorded history and at least 12,000 years, which draws people here who are supposed to be here, quote unquote. After I tell him my previous visits in the mid to late 80s, Troy says to me, "Welcome home." I didn't feel very much at home. Further affirmation came a day or two later while at the local natural food store, Rainbow Bridge. After the checkout counter, I saw a magazine cover on which there were the legs of a dancer and the name Michael Jackson. I picked up the complimentary magazine, a local quarterly, and took it home to read the cover story, quote, "The day Michael Jackson came to Ojai," unquote. I thought that, and even shared on Facebook, quote, "In the house of a Christian lady, in the backyard of Michael Jackson," unquote, is fulfillment. I am in the right place. Jackson was born in the same year, exactly 6 months apart, and was my alter ego. And for me, he was as influential as Krishnamurti or others such as Hazrat Inayat Khan, Tolstoy, or Martin Luther King Jr. I thought it was no wonder that Krishnamurti and Michael Jackson would be attracted to the spiritual environment, for both shared a common persona and a universal message which people say were reflected in their aura and could be felt in their presence. I thought back in memory and remembered they both spoke at Carnegie Hall. I also saw both at Madison Square Garden, so the two of them seemed to go together in my life. Now I'd like to share some of the words and phrases and teachings even that bring them together for me. I will extract from the paper a book that I wrote a few words and writing of Michael Jackson. And Christina, there's no microphone, so. I am the world is an obvious phrase that Michael and Christina share. In the song Man in the Mirror, Jackson implores listeners to make that change, to create a better world, and to do it not gradually, but today. And Christian Radio also emphasized the importance of change instantaneously. There's another song in which Jackson sings, "You're just another part of me," and it shows the university of the commonality of us all. And Christian Radio stated, quote, "You must understand the whole of life, not just one little part of it. That is why you must read. That is why you must look at the skies. That is why you must sing and dance and write poems and suffer and understand. For all of that is life." Michael Jackson certainly did all of that. In Dancing the Dream, a book of essays and poems that followed Michael Jackson's autobiography, Moonwalk, he wrote, "Consciousness expresses itself through creation. This world we live in is the dance of the Creator. Dancers come and go in the twinkling of an eye, but the dance lives on. On many an occasion, when I am dancing, I have felt touched by something sacred. In those moments, I felt my spirit soar and become one with everything that exists. I become the stars and the moon. I become the lover and the beloved. I become the victor and the vanquished. I become the master and the slave. I become the singer and the song. I become the knower and the known. I keep on dancing, then it is the eternal dance or creation. The Creator and the creation merge into one wholeness of joy. I keep on dancing and dancing and dancing until there is only the dance." Finally, I will leave, there's one other quote that Michael Jackson leaves with us. It is the question, how old would you be if you could not remember your age? How old would you be if you could not remember your age?
Would you say?
The question that he loved, how old would you be if you could not remember your age? And finally, I would like to say that the residence program has been very alive. We're very much a group, and I think we bring a lot from where we came into Ojai. For instance, I bring a bit of North Carolina and New York, a bit of Turkey and Kurdistan, Beijing, Slovakia, and Louisiana. And it is diversity, it is a melting pot, and it is actually the title of the book I was trying to write, The Universality of the Teachings Shared by Judeo-Christianity. Thank you.
Really, I just want to say thank you everyone for supporting the program and all of us by holding space and listening to all the students today. If you have any general questions you think we'd all benefit from exploring together, you could take time to do that now. Otherwise, if you have any specific questions about the program or to recommend for someone in your family or someone that you think might be interested, I'm happy to answer those questions or point them in the right direction. So, yeah.
I have not a question, but I would like to voice an appreciation to all of you who shared your experience, because in doing so you open a world, you open a world to those of us who might not have been there, and offer insights as well that are very powerful and unique. And even when you walk a place and are in a place for a period of time, it's very nice to get a new lens to see that place with. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, sort of echoing that, Liz, I mean, it seems like what just came to me is that getting to hear these voices, I mean, it's these wonderful voices. You know, it gives me a sense of how much I am them, and vice versa. As Rumi said, right?
I thought, I wouldn't have been able to do this kind of paper myself. But even speaking with all my age behind, they did a wonderful job. Each paper is different from another one. And it's original thinking. I don't know what else I can say it. I felt it very, very, very more than happy to listen to these guys. Well done.
I was wondering if you all, I guess your time is going to be up and you'll have to go, you're leaving or something. Are you all going to stay in contact with each other?
Oh, definitely.
Do you leave at different
Bye-bye.
times? Maybe soon? Some Ching Fong leaving?
Yeah, I'm going to leave next weekend.
Wow. So it's been a year for you?
8 months.
Wow.
So there isn't an age limit, and I thought there was an age ceiling.
No, we're all young adults.
I'm a parental adolescent.
I was going to say, Jason's here because he doesn't know how old he is. So, another question.
Yeah.
So, since there are 2 people leaving fairly soon, do you have other people coming on the horizon?
We do. We have a woman who lived, I think it's basically the program that inspired this program in England in Rockwood Park. It's called the Mature Student Program. And so we have a woman who is originally from China who had lived in Rockwood for 2 years, and she'll be coming May 15th, so 2 weeks from today, she'll be moving in. So yeah, there'll be, it's nice, yeah, the program we can house 5 people, so we'll be full when she comes, because Ching Fong's leaving, and then we'll still be at 5, yeah.
What's the minimum age you require for the program? Not maximum.
Yeah, minimum. I think.
As long as you don't know your age, it's fine.
Yeah. We don't have, yeah.
It's fine, okay.
Yeah. We say young adults because 18, like the legal.
Yeah, I was thinking about my grandkids, but they are not that age yet.
Not yet, okay.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
I mean, they're fresh in their mind, that's what it is. So
Oh, are they older than 18 or they're young?
No,
They're young. Yeah, fresh.
They follow, I don't know very much. They follow, you ask them anything, they say, I don't know. That is a fundamental question.
Good place to start. Does anyone else have? Yeah.
But after everybody,
Okay.
if they have really pushed on the program after.
Okay. And there's also information online on our KFA website, so there's a handbook and information about the program. But it is true, we have kind of expanded our vision in terms of when maybe initially we presented it as young adults, like upwards to 30. I think we've made that explicit actually on our website, but then when people have come forward, we've looked at where they are in their life and their interests and felt compelled to meet them in that space and not feel constrained by the age or something like that.
How is it you and Corey that sort of run the program? Like how many of you are involved? Just
Technically there's one coordinator, myself. Corey, having participated for a year, has a lot of insight and support. But in terms of like a job description, there's the one coordinator. So Yeah, that's one.
I presume you need to be a resident in the United States or not?
You have to have the ability to stay here, like Lu Xing, who's coming on the 15th of May. She has a visa that allows her to stay for 6 months as a tourist visa. It has been a challenge for the program when we do receive international applications, and there are some just wonderful, you know, a lot of great interest, and just really lines up the challenge of the visa. And we don't have the staff capacity to handle that aspect of the program for them. So we really just say, if you can figure out how to stay here, if you can get all the paperwork together, then we'll, you know, we'll support you.
Can you not run this program as an extension of Oak Grove and give people students visas or something?
I think that's still, it's a labor-intensive process in a sense, and I don't know all the particular legal aspects that we'd have to. It might even do with our own nonprofit affiliation, like how we're seen as an entity, the foundation, what we can do under that, because they're being a school, we're not a school, so yeah.
And just a comment, it seems like, reflected in what we were hearing today, it seems like it's a very alive program.
Dan actually has been a guest facilitator, and so you have actually a sense of what the capacity or quality of inquiry, the possibility for that.
Yes, and just how it seems to be moving, as illustrated today. I mean, we have 5 students, and each one presenting a very unique perspective of how what's happening. It's reflective of that.
I feel like it's something that maybe Balat was pointing at, and others have said as well, is actually the program is what you bring to it, or what it's constantly creating itself. That being said, there is a structure, and there are implicit and explicit expectations, but yeah, I think that spirit that everyone brings to just being here is what's creating it. I mean, we have William here, who's lived here a year as well, and then I said Corey, and yeah, it's sometimes I think it's actually frustrating for people in a sense, because we try and hold that space for the program to be what you bring to it, and then we might push back and say, no, sorry, you can't do that here. So we're always seeing how that may actually hold up, you know, but I think the overall like foundation of it being, we're here to see our part in that, not to play like draw a hard line, but also know that we are a foundation with a public face and a retreat center, all those things that come into place. But so, you know, the structure has remained throughout, but every individual that comes to it becomes the program, like you heard today. So
paradox at work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was remiss, and we will be remiss if we don't thank students for all the work he's done this past month and preparing the papers. So for the interns, I think we should all put
I've been sitting here wondering, should I say something?
Yeah, I know, I apologize.
I would like to say that I really enjoyed working with you. It didn't really pick up very early for a variety of reasons, but it's been very good and very heartening. And I felt a level of maturity in the group and a level of interest, which is, I think, stronger than in previous years. So I think it's really working. And the age thing is actually almost irrelevant. Not too young, obviously, but yeah. And in a way, like when you have a good class as a teacher, I was a teacher for 30 years, it doesn't matter where you start. If the thing is right, it always works. So it's been like that for me.
You know, I wondered how the mix of work and free time worked out. You know, I'm just kind of interested in how that works for the interns.
a comment. We do various tasks during the week. Like one day we may cook, another clerical office administrative work, and then some days we do maintenance. And the maintenance days are the days where they seem longer than the others. We might take a nap in the afternoon or early evening. But in find, but Ching Fong noted, you find enjoyment in work. It's labor, it's laborious, but it's gratifying. And there's that immediate gratification because you can see how many weeds you cut, which area you cleared. But it is, there's a lot of free time in the evenings and on weekends. So sometimes we do get probably like a lazy pull or lazy, or maybe we're just trying to, find some relief. But I would say overall it's a balance. And the free time is there for us to make great use of, or to just recover.
Everybody wants to go home.
Sorry, that's fine.
Yeah.
Before you go home.
Yeah.
Question.
If you don't mind, I would like to be rude.
Be what?
Go for it.
Be rude?
Go for it.
Rude?
You have permission.
We're ready.
Especially if you do it while you're smiling.
That's okay.
You mean you weren't before? You mean you weren't before?
No. No.
No answer, just a question. No, I don't know how to put in a question mark. If you realize there is no young human being in this gathering.
Sorry, say that again? I didn't hear.
There is not a young human beings in the gathering that we having now together.
And this means more specifically what?
Just a question, sir.
Can you?
No young people. No young people.
Human beings. Human beings. Human beings.
I was just, actually, I was